Imagine waking up one morning, sitting down at your desk with your morning coffee, and pressing the power button on your PC, only to realize that you no longer actually own the machine sitting in front of you. You try to open a file, but a window pops up telling you that your cloud subscription has expired. You try to change a setting, but the system informs you that your hardware is no longer compliant with a new mandatory security protocol. This isn't a scene from a cyberpunk thriller. This is the trajectory Microsoft has set for the future of personal computing. Specifically, we are looking at a looming deadline in June 2026 that could change the way you use your computer forever. If you value your privacy, your control over your hardware, and your right to use your PC without a constant tether to a corporate server, then you need to listen closely. This might be your very last chance to jump ship before Windows 11 evolves into something we might call a digital lockdown. For decades, we've been accustomed to the idea that a PC is a tool of independence. You buy the parts or the laptop, you install the software, and you go to work. However, over the last few years, the walls have been closing in. With Windows 11, Microsoft introduced TPM 2.0 requirements and mandatory Microsoft accounts for setup. But that was just the beginning. As we approach the middle of 2026, several key shifts in Windows development and licensing are converging to create a perfect storm of restriction. We are talking about the complete integration of AI surveillance, the transition to a cloud-first OS model, and the phasing out of traditional local control. If you don't take action now to secure your system or migrate to an alternative, you might find yourself trapped in a subscription-based ecosystem where every click you make is tracked, analyzed, and monetized. Let's start with the big one, the integration of deep-level AI. You've probably heard of Recall, the feature that was supposed to take snapshots of your screen every few seconds so you can search through your past activities. While Microsoft hit the brakes on the initial rollout due to massive public backlash over security concerns, do not be fooled into thinking it's gone. It's being refined. By June 2026, features like these won't just be optional add-ons. They will be baked into the core kernel of the operating system. We are moving toward a world where your OS isn't just a platform to run apps, but an active observer. This AI isn't living locally just for your benefit. It requires constant connection to the cloud for processing, updates, and telemetry. This is the first layer of the lockdown. Once your system is designed to record everything you do under the guise of productivity, the concept of a private computer disappears. Then there is the hardware aspect. We have seen Microsoft get increasingly aggressive with their hardware compatibility lists. Thousands of perfectly capable PCs were left behind when Windows 11 launched because they lacked a specific security chip. Experts predict that by June 2026, a new wave of hardware requirements will hit. This will coincide with the push for NPU-enabled processors, or neural processing units. Microsoft wants to ensure that every Windows device is an AI PC. If your hardware doesn't have the specific silicon required to run their proprietary AI models, you might find your version of Windows losing support or being relegated to a legacy status that receives no security updates. This creates a forced obsolescence cycle that isn't about performance, but about control. They want you on hardware that they can verify and manage at the hardware level, often referred to as Pluton security chips. Why is June 2026 the magic date? This timing aligns with the projected end-of-life cycles for several enterprise versions of Windows and the transition into what many insiders are calling the next generation of Windows, potentially Windows 12 or a massive paradigm shift in the current version. Usually, Microsoft gives a long lead time for these changes, but we are seeing that lead time shrink as they push for a faster adoption of their service-based model. Think about how Microsoft 365 replaced the traditional Office suite. You no longer buy Word, you rent it. Windows is the next logical step in that journey. A cloud-managed OS where the local machine is essentially just a thin client. If you haven't moved to a platform that respects local ownership before this window closes, you'll find that the cost and technical difficulty of leaving will skyrocket. Let's talk about the cloud-centric shift. Microsoft has been testing a Windows 365 service for businesses for a while now, allowing them to stream a full Windows desktop from the cloud. The goal is to bring this to the consumer market. Imagine a version of Windows that is free or cheap, but it only works if you have an active monthly subscription and a constant high-speed internet connection. In this scenario, your files aren't really on your drive. They are in OneDrive. Your settings aren't in the registry. They are on a Microsoft server. If you stop paying, or if Microsoft decides your account has violated a vague term of service, you lose access to your digital life instantly. This is the ultimate lockdown. By June 2026, the groundwork for this transition will be fully laid out, making it the standard way the OS functions. If you are a power user, gamer, or professional, you might think you are safe. You think you'll just keep using your local accounts and bypass the restrictions with registry hacks. But Microsoft is systematically closing those loopholes. We've already seen them make it harder to set up a PC without an internet connection and a Microsoft account. By 2026, those bypasses will likely be patched. The kernel itself will be designed to reject local-only configurations. This isn't just about data collection. It's about creating a closed ecosystem similar to what we see on mobile devices. On a smartphone, you don't really own the OS. You just have permission to use it. Microsoft wants that same level of control over the desktop. So, what are the alternatives? This is where the last chance to leave comes in. If you stay on the current path, you are heading toward a digital dead end. But there has never been a better time to look at the alternatives. Linux has made monumental strides in the last 2 years. With the release of the Steam Deck and the improvement of compatibility layers like Proton, gaming on Linux is no longer a headache. Professional software is also making the jump. Whether it's DaVinci Resolve for video editing or the vast array of open-source alternatives for creative work, the app gap is closing. If you start your transition now, you have plenty of time to learn the ropes, find your favorite rhythm, and secure your data before the Windows lockdown becomes mandatory. Some might suggest staying on Windows 10 as long as possible. While Windows 10 is a great OS, its official support end date is looming in late 2025. After that, you'll be forced to pay for extended security updates, which will only get more expensive every year. Even then, it's a temporary stay of execution. By 2026, the software you use will start requiring the libraries and AI frameworks found only in the newer versions of Windows. You'll find yourself unable to run new games or the latest versions of creative tools. Staying on an old, unsupported OS is like staying in a house that's scheduled for demolition. It might feel familiar, but it's not a long-term strategy. The real solution is taking back control of your hardware. This means looking at operating systems like Linux Mint, Pop! OS, or even more privacy-focused builds like Fedora. These systems operate on the principle that the user is the boss. There are no mandatory cloud logins. There is no AI recording your screen in the background without your consent. There are no sudden updates that restart your computer in the middle of a project. More importantly, these OSs run faster on older hardware, meaning that PC Microsoft told you was trash can live for another 10 years. This is the direct antithesis of the 2026 lockdown. But it's not just about the OS. It's about your data. If all your files are currently in OneDrive, you are already halfway to the lockdown. Part of leaving Windows 11 involves declouding your life. This means setting up local backups or your own personal cloud using a NAS, such as a Synology or a DIY TrueNAS setup. When your data lives on a drive you physically touch, no one can turn off your access because of a billing error or a change in corporate policy. This is the foundation of digital sovereignty. If you start this process now, by June 2026, you will be completely independent of the Microsoft ecosystem. There's also the element of telemetry. On Windows 11, the amount of data sent back to servers is staggering. It's everything from your search queries to how long you hover your mouse over a certain icon. This data is used to build a profile of you, which is then used to sell advertising or influence your behavior through suggested content in the Start menu. We've already seen ads appearing in the File Explorer and Settings app. This will only intensify. By June 2026, Windows could essentially become an ad-supported platform where you pay for the privilege of being marketed to. Leaving Windows isn't just a technical choice. It's a choice to stop being a product. Another factor to consider is the right to repair from a software perspective. When Microsoft locks down the OS, they also lock down your ability to fix it. If something goes wrong in a cloud-integrated system, you can't just boot into safe mode and fix a driver. You are at the mercy of their automated recovery tools, which often involve a total reset of your data. Linux and other open-source alternatives allow you to see exactly what's happening under the hood. If a piece of software breaks, you have the tools to diagnose and fix it yourself, or the community can provide a fix within hours. This autonomy is what we are losing with the shift at Microsoft. We also have to look at the impact on businesses. Small business owners often rely on Windows because it's what they know, but the 2026 lockdown will hit them the hardest. Mandatory subscriptions for every workstation will eat into margins, and the lack of privacy could be a major liability for those in sensitive industries like law or medicine. If you are a business owner, June 2026 should be on your calendar as a critical risk date. Moving your workflow to a more stable, predictable platform now will save you thousands of dollars and countless headaches in the long run. The hardware world is also reacting to this. We see companies like Framework and System76 building beautiful, powerful laptops specifically designed to run open-source software. They offer hardware switches for cameras and microphones, and they don't lock you into a specific software ecosystem. When you buy one of these machines, you are making a statement that you believe in hardware ownership. These devices are built to last. Unlike the disposable, glued-together laptops often promoted for the AI PC era, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all this. Change is scary. We've used Windows for 30 years. It's ingrained in our muscle memory. But remember that Microsoft counts on your fear of change. They count on the fact that most people will just click accept on the new terms of service because they don't think they have a choice. But you do have a choice. The effort it takes to learn a new interface is a small price to pay for the peace of mind that comes with knowing your computer isn't spying on you or preparing to lock you out. Let's break down a roadmap for the next few months to prepare for the June 2026 cutoff. Phase 1 is education. Download a few different Linux distros and run them from a USB stick without installing them. This allows you to test your hardware and see which interface speaks to you. Phase 2 is software replacement. Find the open-source versions of the apps you use every day. If you use Photoshop, try Krita or GIMP. If you use Office, try LibreOffice or OnlyOffice. Use these on Windows first so the transition is less jarring. Phase 3 is data migration. Get your files out of the proprietary cloud and onto local storage. By the time 2026 rolls around, you won't be one of the millions of people complaining on Twitter about the latest Windows update that broke their PC or added a new layer of surveillance. You'll be sitting comfortably on a system that you built, that you understand, and that you own. You'll watch the lockdown from the outside, knowing that your digital life is secure. This isn't just about being a tech nerd. This is about fundamental digital rights. We are at a crossroads where the personal computer is either going to remain personal or become a corporate terminal. Microsoft's vision of the future is remarkably consistent. They want a frictionless experience, where frictionless means you don't have to think because they are thinking for you. They want to anticipate your needs, automate your tasks, and manage your data. While that sounds convenient, it removes your agency. When the OS makes the decisions, you lose the ability to innovate and explore. The lockdown isn't just about security. It's about the narrowing of the computing experience into a predefined lane. Consider the environmental impact as well. The forced hardware requirements for Windows 11 have already sent millions of perfectly working computers to the landfill. The 2026 shift will likely do the same for the first generation of Windows 11 PCs that don't meet the new AI silicon standards. This is a massive waste of resources. By switching to an OS that is light and efficient, you are extending the life of your hardware and reducing your environmental footprint. It's a win for you and a win for the planet. As we get closer to that June 2026 date, you will see a massive marketing push. You'll see commercials showing how magical and easy the new AI Windows is. They will use words like seamless, integrated, and secure. They will promise to save you time and make you more creative. But always remember what you are giving up in exchange for that magic. You are giving up the keys to your house. You are giving up the privacy of your thoughts and the ownership of your tools. The tech community is already starting to vibrate with this energy. More and more developers are focusing on the Linux desktop experience. Valve's investment in the space has changed the game completely. We are seeing a renaissance of independent software that doesn't rely on tracking pixels or subscription models. This is the vibrant, exciting future of computing, and it's happening entirely outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. If you leave now, you aren't going to a desert. You are going to a flourishing garden. Think about the gaming side specifically for a moment. Historically, Windows was the only place to play. But with tools like Proton and Lutris, the vast majority of titles in your library will run perfectly on other systems. In some cases, games even run better because the underlying OS isn't wasting resources on background telemetry and ads. The excuse that you have to stay for the games is becoming less true every single day. If you haven't checked out your Steam library on a Linux compatibility checker lately, you'll be shocked at how many platinum ratings you see. The June 2026 lockdown is a transition from an ownership model to a relationship model. In an ownership model, you have a tool. In a relationship model, you have a partner who has their own interests at heart and who can change the rules of that relationship at any time. Do you really want to be in a relationship with a trillion-dollar corporation that views you as a data point? Or do you want a tool that does exactly what you tell it to do, when you tell it to do it, without any backtalk or hidden agendas? This is your wake-up call. The clock is ticking toward a significant shift in the digital landscape. June 2026 might seem far away, but in the world of tech migration, it's just around the corner. Every day you spend deepening your roots in Windows 11 is another day it becomes harder to leave. Start the process today. Back up your photos. Try an alternative browser like Firefox or Brave. Experiment with a live USB of a new OS. Take the power back. Your PC should be a sanctuary. It's where you write your journals, where you manage your finances, where you create your art, and where you connect with your loved ones. That sanctuary should be private, secure, and under your absolute control. Don't let a corporate update turn your sanctuary into a surveillance pod. The lockdown is coming, but the door is still open for now. It's time to walk through it and never look back. The story of the next few years will be defined by who controls the AI and who controls the data. If you stay on Windows 11, you've already given up that fight. If you leave, you are joining a growing movement of people who believe that technology should serve humanity, not the other way around. It's a journey toward freedom, and it starts with a single step. Don't wait until June 2026 to realize you are locked in. The signs are all around us. The warnings are clear. The last chance to leave is here, and the choice is yours. Make sure you choose the path that leads to independence, privacy, and true ownership of your digital life. See you on the other side.